we'll be talking very shortly to do with the Chief Ombudsman's report on local government in New Zealand. 2 days ago, yesterday in actual fact, the Chief Ombudsman had done a review of 8 councils in New Zealand and decided that that was representative enough to make some general conclusions that local government in New Zealand is not open and transparent, and as required by the Local Government Act, far from it. That more and more business that councils are doing is hidden away from public view in workshops. Now, those of you who are not involved in local government, but who pay thousands and thousands of dollars in rates every year, the workings of council are a mystery all of themselves. And there is a reason why you don't hear an awful lot about what goes on in councils. You simply get a rates demand every year. In part, that's because local media don't cover council meetings in the same way, so you're not quite sure of it. But also, the other reason is because councils conduct so much of their business in secret. If I was to take you back 30 years ago to a council, they've got a council meeting, you've got council committees, they do all their business in those, they are open, they only go into confidence if there's something really confidential. Usually it's something like serious commercial confidentiality, or you don't want to compromise a particular individual who might be being about to be discussed, whether it's a staff member or a member of the public. But as a general rule, there would be committees, and they would be reported. You'd have a council meeting and that would be reported, and everybody knew what was going on. And there was a sort of an association between you, the media, and the council. And, nowadays, so much work has been done, particularly in the last 2 decades, in workshops, which are hidden away from the public. And although theoretically they don't make decisions, the truth is they do. To all in practical intents and purposes. And that was the point of the Chief Ombudsman in his report. He says local government is secretive, it is not democratic and open and fair and transparent as required by the law, and he waved a big stick, or at least verbally yesterday, on that matter. Already some councils, the Dunedin City Council, for example, yesterday, upon receiving the Ombudsman's report, have decided, and it's extraordinary to me that it's taken so bloody long, but have decided that they are actually going to have their workshop meetings held in public. Well, so they bloody well should be, you're thinking, particularly when you're discussing events, activities, financial demands and issues that are at the end of the day funded by the ratepayer. Contrast that with the Wellington City Council, which is currently taking 5 codes of conduct complaints against 5 of its elected councillors for discussing something that was about the Wellington City Council finances, but in a workshop, apparently or allegedly in the public. Joining us to talk about this particular issue and the responses of councils around New Zealand is the leading candidate from the last election in the Levin ward, anyhow, Sam Jennings, also a mayoral aspirant at the last election as well, elected councillor from the Horowhenua District Council, Sam, and he joins us now. Sam, welcome to the show. This is an issue which you have been very passionate about for a long time, which is why I'm interviewing you this morning and your reaction to the Ombudsman's report. What got you interested and passionate in the first place?
Morning, Michael. Privileged to be on the show. Just a number one goal, not to win that Idiot of the Day T-shirt. But thanks for having me on. I first got elected to council in 2019 and was immediately surprised at just how much of council's business was done behind closed doors, and some of the process and some of the things that I thought would be in place and would already be part of the council structure just wasn't there. And it really surprised me just how much decision was being done in these sort of closed rooms without debate, without anyone being sort of accountable for their decisions. So it became a bit of an immediate hobby horse. And I'd had a bit of a background in the Official Information Act and information law. And so, it sort of just immediately became a bit of a hobby horse for me, and tried to get our council to change the way it does its business, basically.
So you have committee. You've got a committee structure like most councils. You've got a full council meeting, and you have workshops. Have those workshops up until now largely been private and held in confidence?
Yeah, look, so up until, I'd say, the beginning of, end of 2021, beginning of 2022, we were very much like other councils where a lot of our business was done in those sort of workshop settings where staff would be asking for, in their words, a steer or a direction so that they could go and do further work. But for all intents and purposes, it was setting them on a particular course, which meant you were closed to other options or closed to other courses of action, and then obviously inevitably that would come to a council meeting, and then we'd have a pretty sort of vanilla council meeting where it was essentially a rubber stamping exercise.
Yes.
But we've, I guess myself and another elected member, Councillor David Allen up here in Horowhenua, we really pushed hard to change our sort of default settings, and so I have to say that from pre sort of 2022 we were pretty crap in this space, but I'd have to say as a council we're now very much leading the pack, and we've really switched sort of our approach and are doing a lot of things both around the workshops and having a default setting of openness and how we advertise that, how we live stream, we've got it on our website. We're taking attendance records of elected members who are actually attending these things, reporting that to council meetings. Look, so I'd probably give us a bit of an A grade. There's, to get to the A+, there's still a couple of steps that we could take, and the Ombudsman recommendations are very much sort of aligned to those areas where we need to, do some further improvement. But
I have a bit of a conspiracy theory running, Sam, on this issue, because as you probably know, I've been a mayor and an elected member of a council as well. And that is one of the reasons also that staff love workshops to be in secret, is because they manipulate the information to reach a predetermined conclusion. And that if that information was made available publicly, it might then draw from members of the public who are informed and aware, particularly from, say, interest groups like, Federated Farmers or something like that, a counter proposal that would suggest that the information being presented isn't necessarily factual or full. So really workshops are also a way in which staff who have a monopoly of information that you receive as a councillor can ensure that the information they provide you isn't going to be publicly tested, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think that has been a feature of our local government system, and it's one of the things that certainly sort of struck me when I first got on council, which is that contestability of advice and how we actually exactly test the information, because if we're getting one set of information or advice or recommendations, it's very hard to then actually understand. Is there actually a different view on this? Is there a different perspective? Can this be challenged? And so, I think that one of the things that we've done with our council is that we employed a new chief executive last year, and the part of that recruitment process involved really clear understanding and specific KPIs around ensuring that elected members are in the driving seat. The elected members set the agenda, set the expectation, and we've got a fantastic CEO who really understands that governance and management relationship and what her role is. And if elected members seek that contestable advice or seek additional options or seek, an expert opinion, she facilitates that. So we've got this really good, I think we're lucky as a council that we have as a great CEO, but we've also got a group of elected members that, while not always unified on particular issues, we're unified on good process, that transparency, getting that robust advice, and obviously in the context of workshops and OIA and information, we're unified in terms of complying with our legal obligations and making sure that we're open and transparent.